Hey dads and moms, Adam here with a quick bit of cool news. Modern Dadhood is a finalist in 2 categories for this year's Signal Awards, and from now through October 9th, we're also up for a Listener's Choice Award. And here's where you come in. We'd love for you to vote for Modern Dadhood. It takes about 45 seconds to do, and you can find the links to vote in our 2 categories at moderndadhood.com. Mark and I can't thank you enough for your support and for being part of this thing with us, and I really hope that you dig this episode as much as we do. Thanks for considering popping over to moderndadhood.com and giving us a quick vote in those 2 categories.
Modern Dadhood. Modern Dadhood podcast.
Okay, we're recording.
Live.
We're
Well,
recording
it's not live.
outside.
But we are outside.
In person.
In person together, sitting across from a table. There are 2 tall boys on the table, and we're in Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Would you like to introduce the show today?
I can do that. This is Modern Dadhood. Do you like when I do that? Do you like when I do the really hard this?
It's less about what I like and more about what the listeners like.
They hate it.
Okay, so do it however you think they will like it.
This
You son of a bee.
Modern Dadhood, an ongoing conversation about the joys, challenges, and general insanity of being a dad in this moment. And I would say you and I are, well, I'll speak for myself. At this moment, I'm trying to be in the moment. And I'm trying to be happy, and I'm trying to enjoy myself.
That's funny because I'm doing everything in my power to escape the moment. The existential dread.
That's terrible. My name is Mark, and I'm a dad to twin boy, 7.5-year-old, who had a soccer game this morning. There's a slight crispy chill in the air. There's some leaves are changing colors right now. Life is really actually quite wonderful at this moment.
My name's Adam Flaherty. I'm a girl dad to 2 daughters who are 11 and 8. And despite things feeling particularly stressful lately and emotions being on high, I too am enjoying this day with you.
Oh,
and
that's
choosing
nice
to find positivity because we just finished an in-person interview, which for us is pretty rare.
I mean, my God, it's probably only like the 5th one.
But we just had a great in-person interview with someone who exudes positivity.
Yeah.
And he is the lead singer of an extremely popular band who's been big since the early 90s, 311.
Megadeth. Oh, sorry. Yeah. No, you're right. No, you're right. I'm sorry. It's 311.
And is currently on tour with his solo material. It's Nick Hexum, and I'll say he was an absolute delight to talk to, and I can't wait for our listeners to hear it and play it back in just a couple of minutes.
A total gentleman, too. He invited us into the RV. An absolute first for Modern Dadhood.
It was very cool.
Yeah. You haven't used the cat sting in a while. Time to pull it out of retirement?
I think we'll use it right about meow. You were just telling me off the microphone about your boys are doing soccer. It's soccer season. My girls are busy with dance. Everybody's back in school, kind of a whirlwind. In general, like, how are things, dad-wise?
Terrible.
No, that's not. That's bullshit.
No. Well, it's always a mixture of so many things. It's exciting. Yeah, and the school year is ramping up. We had our open house. We got to see the classrooms. We got to see all the fun stuff that the kids are doing in school. It's an exciting time. I've always found I was never like, I don't know. I don't think I was a very good student. High school, college, the whole thing. But there's still something to me as a 43-year-old that still is very invigorated or maybe reinvigorated, like right around this time of year, where the idea of like you're getting back into the school year, it's a time to learn new things and your mind gets opened up to new opportunities. I don't know, I still, being out of school for so long, I still kind of get really excited like around this time of year because of that. Is that a weird thing?
No, I think for me, and I know for Sarah, my wife, like fall there's always been a little buzz in the air around fall. I don't know, which is funny because fall is immediately followed by winter.
Well, and it's after the summer.
Right.
The fun stuff is supposed to happen during summer.
So what is it about fall that gives you that little rush of endorphins every now and then?
I don't know. I really don't know what it is.
Maybe let's talk to a scientist.
A faultologist.
Any faultologists out there who would care to explain this phenomenon to us on the podcast?
Maybe it's autumnologist.
That is going to confuse people.
For sure. I mean, it is confusing that there's... Why does summer have only summer as the moniker? Spring goes by only one name. Winter, we know...
Only as winter.
Only as winter. But fall was like, listen, I was born fall, but I prefer to be called autumn.
Autumn is a little more fabulous.
Is that it? Fall just has a little bit of an attitude, and that's fine.
This time of year, so my girls are very involved in dance and both taking multiple classes. I've entered the phase of fatherhood where I basically become the Uber driver.
That happens. Why are you not dancing?
Oh, it's because I have zero sense of rhythm. My body
that can't stop
moves
you.
Awkwardly. My center of balance is way off. Everything's askew.
When let's say you're at a wedding, you had sent me a video recently of you and Sarah at a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
There was a torrential downpour, which I hope they made the best of that.
It was actually a lot of fun.
Oh, good.
Great wedding.
But let's say you're at a wedding and everyone's having a wonderful time and there's music and you find yourself on the dance floor?
If I'm moderately lubricated
sure.
with alcohol, then yeah, maybe.
But you have a fun time when you're out there?
It's not my inclination is not to go out on the dance floor and dance.
Really? Yeah, I mean, I know I look like a complete ass hat when I'm out there,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to lie. The right song comes on, and I feel like you will appreciate this. Particularly if there's like a good, like Beck's music makes me fucking get up.
Yeah, but nobody's playing Beck.
I know that. I know.
It's Earth, Wind, and Fire. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's Journey, and no shade thrown on Journey. I don't want to dance at all.
Well, have we rambled enough?
Yeah, I think we've gone off the rails, and
it's a good thing we're together in person, and we're not hiding behind computers. But it certainly gives way to the potential for just getting lost and rambling.
Right. And nobody wants to hear it.
Nobody wants to hear that at all.
So let's toss. You know what I mean? Let's
toss off.
over to the interview.
Oh.
Let's send it into the RV.
Let that interview roll, baby.
So we were just saying this is potentially your first time in Portsmouth.
I believe so.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
I guess.
So you've got 3 girls that are 15 down to 5. Is that the range?
My oldest turned 16 and got her driver's license.
Oh, man.
I was just giving her some instructions about make sure you have enough charge in the car. And so Echo is 16. Harlow just turned 11, my youngest, and Maxine's in the middle at 14.
Just a couple nights ago, you posted a video of singing Happy Birthday to Harlow on stage, which was pretty cool. Then, what did she think about that?
She loved it.
Yeah.
They're very sentimental girls, so a nice thing like that to make sure they know that I'm thinking of them. And that is one of the few drawbacks of touring life is that, I can't just say to 311, sorry, can't tour during that time because there's 10 different 311 babies between all the different guys. So if we started blocking out for all the kids' birthdays, it wouldn't work.
That's an interesting question because I did want to ask you about that. Does everybody have kids?
Not Chad,
okay, Chad
but everybody else. Tim has 3, Peanut and Essay have 2, and I have 3.
Wow. And who was the first in the band?
Me.
You were the first. Okay.
I broke the dam and then the babies just started pouring out.
It's flooding with children.
And so when you all started having kids, how did that affect like not everybody's attitude towards the band. I mean, this is your career, but like, did the band suddenly come second to families? And like, how does it impact your decisions for touring and like how long runs you're going to go on and things like that?
Yeah, I think that it does kind of come into play when we're like, for example, we got offered a pretty decent gig on December 27th, and we're like, no, we're gonna stay home for Christmas break during that time. But I think that it was just a totally net positive to give a whole new set of emotions and experience to express in the music.
Yeah. Well, that was one of my questions. Is you were writing music, performing for many years before kids came into the picture. What about your inspiration or your creative process? Like, what sort of things changed, I guess, or how was that process for you affected? What was that like? All of a sudden, okay, now you're a dad, but you're still writing music and looking for inspiration, etc.
Yeah. Well, I think that pre-2006, we were much more, flying the flag of partying and weed smoking and, more of a wild lifestyle. And then, in 2006, I cleaned up my act and quit drinking. And that really cleared the way for me to know that I was ready to start a family.
Yeah.
And basically, I don't have any question that I sowed enough wild oats, that I did everything there was to do, and that the really next exciting and interesting challenge would be to grow up and be a family man and experience all those wonderful feelings from being nurturing and just being a provider and putting myself second, before, when you're single, it's all about you and what you want to do. And then so to now just really dig into being a provider and it's still a kind of a big contrast because when I'm out on tour, I've got like helpers and catering and bus driver and everything else. And so that's kind of a bit of a flashback to like me time where I, have so much time to read books, watch movies, practice guitar, work out, do whatever I want. And then I come home and it's just completely different. Now it's like my needs will come later when there's time. Yeah. And I'm totally good with it.
Yeah.
Do you find that it's kind of a balance of, I mean, you've written about the difficulties of being on tour when you've got your family at home, right? Inside Our Home is specifically on that topic. But do you find that there's also something that's nice about it sometimes too, about being able to like have some free time to do those things that you want to do? I mean, can you both enjoy it and feel the like sadness of being on the road and away from them?
Well, it's just such a nice feeling to know that, on Monday, in 3 days, 2 days, I'm going to be back with the family, and it's just something to look forward to. I mean, I think when I was single, to come off the road and just have it me at home by myself, that was harder. I need reassurance. I need comforting, and to get that from, like being inside our home. That was like a huge boon for my life to have that.
Being that in that space now where you're a family man and putting yourself second and all of this, did you find that there were, I don't know, I guess maybe lyrical, like were ideas, feelings, etc. from that all of a sudden finding themselves kind of naturally getting into the music side of things? Like, were lyrics kind of showing up that you're like, oh, where did that come from?
Yeah. Well, I think it coincided with me seeing through some of my own BS and just getting really honest with myself, and then just the feelings like you never know such a deep love and caring, and I think it's part of human biology that the world's cutest thing that you can see is your own child. Yeah. I mean, it's basically, I joke that, nature had to make it the most rewarding thing because it's a big pain in the butt.
It's so hard. Yeah. Yeah.
You're just to go from all this. A lot of times I'll maybe do a cameo for somebody who's having their first baby and congratulating them. And I'll just say, you're going to wonder, what did you do with all the free time?
Oh yeah.
And you have 18 years of picking up after them and driving them around to look forward to, but it's so worth it. Nature makes it the most rewarding experience. Yeah. And I even, I remember I said in an article once about how looking back, my life felt comparatively pointless compared to how much a feeling of purpose you have when you're a dad. And I do recall one person a little offended by that. Oh, so my life is pointless because I don't have kids. And I'm like, no, that's a legit decision. Like Chad always said, I don't see that in my future to have kids, and that's fine. There's plenty of people that are. The population is not going to collapse, but it is just, relatively speaking, so much more fulfilling dad life compared to not.
It's pretty crazy to think that there could have been a time where you felt that things were pointless, considering how many millions of people are personally affected by your art.
Yeah, I think I've always had natural dad tendencies, so I was kind of dad to our fan base in some way. So that's why it was, a pretty big sea change for me to clean up my act and go from this kind of wild man to more of a grown up. And I think that because my father he's just my hero and I adore him, and he showed me how to be so consistent and caring and calm. And, I don't have the story of one of these gruff dads that used to whack their kids on the ear or whatever. Yeah. My dad would come in and very calmly wake me up in the morning, son, I'm making eggs. And it was just wow. I want to live up to that standard of dadhood.
Yeah. It's wild to me because one of the questions that sort of I almost always have prepared is maybe not a question, but to explore what that difference in between our own upbringings with our own dads or parents, and now that we're dads, how do we reinterpret that? And I just feel like it's funny that I don't know that we've ever heard anybody talk in that way about their own dad before.
Right. Usually the conversation is our dads weren't getting down on their knees and praising us and asking us about our feelings. So why are we inclined to do that with our kids? Yeah. Is it trying to fulfill something that was lacking, even if we didn't know that it was lacking? But it sounds like your experience was way different from that.
Yeah. That just reminds me how rare and grateful rare it is, and how grateful I am to have that experience. And most people need to unlearn and change the patterns. And fortunately, my dad did that with his dad. My dad is from Wisconsin, from a rural community where they did not talk about their feelings, but somehow my dad was enlightened enough to know that wasn't the way I think he said that his folks maybe said, I love you once, you know what I mean? And I hear it every time I speak with my dad.
Oh, I love that.
And that's how me and my wife and kids are. We never end a conversation on the phone without I love you. It's just so important.
Yeah. How is he as a grandpa?
Wonderful. Yeah. he's the favorite grandparent. They will go to Omaha to be there with him by themselves.
Oh man, that's great.
My middle daughter just went for a nice vacation with them, and did the old unaccompanied minor flying on the airplane, which was a very exciting and cool thing. And they just lavished attention and activities on her with like cooking and exploring the town and going to the zoo and swimming and everything else. So I really couldn't ask for better grandpa.
That's so great.
So we were talking a couple minutes ago about all the hard things that come with being a parent. And I remember reading an article or seeing a headline years ago about how you delivered Maxine. Can you, and I don't recall the story, so can you share that story with us?
Yes.
It's incredible.
It is a very harrowing and exciting story. So my wife, with my support, had always chose to do home birth. We, it just, our own research said that the traditional hospital route introduced a lot of stress, and sometimes it would disturb the natural flow of pregnancy because, they'll start to inject, what is the Pitocin, and then that will start like pushing the baby out before the cervix is open and ready to go, and can cause distress, and they have to do C-sections and blah blah blah. So we were just super into being as natural as possible, which I don't know if I could have, hats off to my wife, I don't know if I could have chose to endure the kind of pain, but my wife said, with that pain comes the reward of this incredible bonding experience that some of our other research said that if you're drugged out, you might miss the thrill of living through the ring of fire or whatever. So she chose that, and I totally supported that. And our first birth with Echo was kind of long. The first one's usually harder because the body isn't used to doing it, and there was like a 20-hour laboring. And and all of my kids were overcooked, like 2 weeks late overdue date. So we were getting close to the time of like, it's not going to be safe, we're going to have to go induce. So we were getting like right down to the wire. And then Echo came out with the midwife being there. I caught all three of our babies, but there was a midwife present for the first and third babies. And so for Maxine, like we had thought, okay, laboring takes maybe 20 hours, and like we got plenty of time to call the midwife. So as things started to develop with the contractions and everything with Maxine, we went to bed at midnight, and my wife was kind of in and out with the contractions. And then at like 5 a.m, she was like, this is starting to heat up. I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to go get you something to eat and make some coffee. And then by the time I get back upstairs, she's like, I need to push.
Oh, man.
And she was so certain that I was going to argue with her. No, don't push. Leave the baby inside you. So I'm like, okay. So it just developed like so rapidly, 0 to 100, because her body had already, knew what to do. So we didn't think it was going to come that fast. And I did call the midwife, and the midwife was like, tell her not to push. And I'm like, I'm not going to say that.
You tell her.
She'll tear my head off if I try and boss her around at this moment. And then so Nikki starts pushing, and it's just me and her at home with Echo, the baby, in her room, who was a toddler at the time. And so a couple big pushes, and the baby's head poked out, and I could see, well, that's a baby's head sticking out right now. And I reached down, and I could feel that there's a face pointing backwards. And then a few more pushes, and there was no progression. I could see that the umbilical cord was wrapped around the neck.
Oh, yikes.
So the baby was stuck head out only, and you can't leave it there forever because it'll die.
Yeah.
And so I had remembered from our home birth training in the past that sometimes the collarbone gets stuck, and in some cases you have to reach in and break a collarbone so the baby can squeeze out. Is actually a fairly common thing. I mean, maybe in hospitals they'll just do like a incision and cut the woman open to make more room, but I wasn't about to grab an X-Acto knife and try doing that myself. So what I did was, like, during a contraction, kind of reach in and force my fingers around her shoulders and twist, and then whoosh, she just shoots out, completely purple, like looked like a corpse. And I'm like, uh-oh. And then so I just like unwind the umbilical cord that was wrapped around her neck, and I just jiggled her and like squeezed her, and then all of a sudden, wah, and I was like,
God, dude,
it was pretty amazing.
Wow.
Wow.
I mean, imagine if you didn't have the instincts that you did in that moment. Like, it could have been a totally different outcome.
Yeah. The midwife showed up about 10 minutes later, and like I go down and answer the door, and I said, everything's cool. And she just runs past me because she was not, this was not used to, what her normal operation. And she checked out the baby. Everything was fine. And in the meantime, I called 911 and I was like, should I cut the cord? And they were like, we can't give you any medical advice, but we can call an ambulance. I was like, no, never mind. The midwife will be here before then. So, we left the baby attached, which was the right thing to do. And then the midwife got there and clamped up the cord, and I cut it. And there was no problem. We just ate some pancakes and went to bed. And the look on Echo's face when she walked in to the bathroom and saw blood everywhere and a baby, she was just like, eyes as big as saucers to see this like gory scene with with her little sister there. But it was all just the normal process of giving birth, and get the placenta out. And we always do, we freeze dry it to get the placenta pills, which are supposed to have, nutrients in it and stuff. So pretty crazy.
That is a hell of a story. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the most amazing part of it is. I mean, I like the fact that you though, in that moment, have like the wherewithal to reach back into your memory from something like a course or something that you had gone through to like, oh, if this happens, do this. That in and of itself is just incredible.
I think I'm pretty good in a crisis, and my wife is wonderful in a crisis. She gets all the credit. I can't take any, she did all the hardest work, but it was just out of necessity that I was like, okay, what do we do now? And the rotation thing seemed to work.
Does Echo remember that at all?
I doubt it.
Yeah.
She was 1.5.
Do your kids, obviously, if you follow you on social media and all of that, like we see your kids a lot in videos, and the Hexum sisters, which maybe we can talk about a little bit. But I'm just curious, do you find that they naturally gravitate towards music because it's just around them all the time? Do you find yourself going to them to say, let's talk about music and do music? Like, how does that kind of work for you guys?
Well, first, on the social media thing, my older daughters have gotten to the age where they're more very concerned about what their friends think. So they're not as like ready to create content with me anymore, which I understand. That's just a normal, natural thing where at a certain age, your friends become more important than your parents. Like, that's just like part of it's actually more a problem if they don't, because then you get into failure to launch, and you know what I mean? So I respect that. But as far as the music, it's just what we do. Like, as far as music, singing together, dancing together. And I absolutely did not push the Hexum Sisters song at all. It just came super organically.
That's
where
cool.
me and Maxine, we found some loud red patterned shirts that we each had, and I was like, she was like, people are going to look at us like, what? And I said, we be looking like, yeah, they be looking like what? So it just came out. And then I was like, oh, we should record this. Do you want to? And she was like, yeah. And so we went and we made like a 1 minute version of it, which sounds fairly like the Look What You Made Me Do Taylor Swift song.
Sure.
And we made a very short video of it. And then we were like, you guys want to, step this up? And they were just so excited about it because they were all still young enough that there was absolutely no fear of like, well, what will people say?
Right.
So, we turned it into a full 3-minute song with a good producer in LA, and my friend made us a music video, and it was a lot of fun. And I think they did a couple years later, as friends started coming, like, I don't know if that's cool anymore. I was like, just leave it, please.
Super cool.
It's so cool.
It is super cool.
we all know that it will again, though they'll get back then, right? There's going to be a period of time where they're like, oh, I'm so embarrassed by that. But then later, they're going to be so happy that that's a thing that exists.
That's what I was thinking about. You guys did a video at one point of Hamilton.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
You'll Be Back, which is an awesome song. I love that video. It's just so fun and like genuinely heartwarming. And I'm like, all three of them are going to go through a stage where they're so embarrassed by that. And then they're going to be so happy that it exists.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my oldest daughter, Echo, is just a piano prodigy. Like she displayed such a natural talent, and we started her on lessons when she was 3. And so she's been doing it for 13 years.
Wow.
And she has a very serious teacher who's very kind and positive, but like you have to do all these exams and theory and recitals. And so it's, really good for like college and everything, but also just to learn an instrument when your brain is that plastic. Mm-hmm. Like it's the same thing how I say, I want to get younger fans, because whatever you listen to in your junior high and high school years is going to have such a special place in your heart. It's just the same way that it's very difficult to start an instrument when you're 22 because your brain is not, just building all these new neural pathways. At that point, you start to get to where you're shedding neural pathways. So, but right now, I don't think any of them are planning on a career in music. 2 of them are very interested in acting. But Echo she doesn't have the performer bug other than she loves piano, and she only went through a short period where she kind of resisted a little bit, but now she's like, I'm so glad you guys helped me stay with it. And so it's a huge part of our life.
When it comes to your music, do they like seeing 311, or do they prefer to come to something that's more intimate, more like rootsy, Americana, bluegrass?
Well, they haven't seen my bluegrass act yet, but they will next Wednesday at the Troubadour in Los Angeles.
Cool.
And they do organically ask for me to put on my new songs all the time. Like right after I recorded it, my Chapel Roan cover of California, they would request on drive time every day, and so I don't have to force it on them. It's pretty good. But yeah, they love the excitement of going to a concert, and they're going to be at my show, and then they're going to also come down with me to San Diego.
That's cool.
To do this huge reggae fest. So,
wow.
And then they come on the cruises. They come to 311 Day. It's just a big source of excitement for them.
How does that work for you, bringing them on like a cruise, for example, where you're packed in there with thousands of fans, and then also bringing your people who, like, your job is to like protect them. And it's not like they're undercover there, like you'll bring them on stage.
They're celebrities of their own. Everybody wants to get their picture taken. And fortunately, I just read a comment yesterday that people were like, we met your kids on the boat and they were the most well-mannered kids on the whole ship. But, fortunately on the boat, we have our own area. And I will say that my wife knows that I get a little anxious before the first show. So she's like, give daddy space. Yeah. He's going to, and after I get that first show under my belt, then I'm like ready for lots of excitement, and you can ask me to do whatever. But there are times, like especially before the first 3-11-day show, where I'm like, I need time to myself because it's a lot of pressure, and they're very respectful of that.
Okay, this is maybe like a long rambly thing maybe for me, but I'll get there. I feel like you are, with your lyrics and your writings and the way that you present yourself, on social and all that kind of stuff, you seem to be a very sort of like positive individual. And like, I guess I would go so far as to say that like spreading positivity too is important to you. And for me personally, like lately there's just so much going on in the world that feels so big and heavy. I find it really hard to be positive a lot of days. And I've got 2 young kids. My kids are 7.5 years old. I have twins. And I just like, is it a natural thing for you to feel positive or see positivity out in the world and want to spread that? Do you get sort of weighed down by this stuff that's out there all the time? Like, do you ever look at your kids and I guess
what kind of world are we?
Well, I guess and that's I mean, I hate to be kind of doom and gloom about it, but I've never been I would have never considered myself to be like a pessimistic or a negative person. But all of a sudden there's this huge responsibility of having children and making sure that you're leaving the world a better place for them. Maybe that's the answer right there, but
yeah, well, people ask me where do you think the positivity came from? Because it is fairly different than other bands, especially in the 90s when everybody was just so angry.
Yeah.
And at the time I was like, these are like other frankly privileged white kids like me. What is everybody so mad about? The Soviet Union has fallen. We don't have to worry about getting vaporized like we did in the 80s. And, the economy was thriving, and, it was on paper, such a good time yet in rock music. So I would make fun of them with songs like Misdirected Hostility and Hostile Apostle and be like, what's even going on here? But I also think that my mom's influence, I come from a family of psychologists. My mom is a PhD in psychology and did a whole career of writing books and having clients. And so I just always absorbed a lot of solution. Yeah. And then my grandfather was a very well-known psychologist in the Midwest who opened the first ever counseling center in Missouri. And he was a Southern Baptist minister who was actually an outlier who fought against segregation. So he was a hero of mine. And I actually really take after him. My middle name is Lofton, and that's his middle name is Lofton. He went by Lofton. And then my sister got a psychology degree too. So it was just reeking of solution. And I have gone through times of being really disturbed about the world, specifically, during the pandemic. And, there was disagreements about politics that were just, you couldn't keep that out of your life. And there was some stuff in the band that got weird for a little while, but we really have learned to put that in its proper place, which is not in the middle of our music. And I also read a lot of psychology books. History, sociology. I love Steven Pinker. He is a wonderful Harvard writer. He's got a brand new book just about to come out. I can't wait to read it. It's because it's all about the culture and how crazy everything is and making sense of it. And there was another wonderful book by Rutger Bregman, a Dutch writer, called Humankind, that basically goes into that humans are naturally altruistic. We are naturally kind. People think that it's a dog eat dog world out there and everyone's out for themselves, but the data does not support that. When the shit hits the fan, I don't know if you're allowed to cuss on a dad podcast.
All the time.
We are.
When the shit hits the fan, people actually take care of each other, whether it's 9/11 or people dragging people out of a fire and putting their own, and the cultural learning that we're only a successful species is because we have learned to share information and goods, and that nobody can survive in a bubble. We are as connected as different cells in my body. We're all exchanging support and goods and services. Even if you live out in a hermit, you're still using tools and stuff made by humans. We're all just standing on the shoulders of giants. We're all just, this really one big organism. And then what Steven Pinker goes into is that humans have a negativity bias, and it helps us in a way that we always want more. We always want bigger, faster, stronger, and that the naturally competitive thing. So people falsely believe that we're going to hell in a handbasket, but by all the different metrics of human happiness, things are getting better. There's standard of living is increasing, lifespan, fairness, and of course there are blips where there's regression. And I think that I chalk that is what's going on right now, is that we're having, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Yeah. But overall, the trend is towards better living, more happiness. It's just hard to see it. So it's where it becomes very important to, on Thursdays is Thankful Thursdays. I do a gratitude list, and I share that with some friends of mine where we take stock of all of our blessings, because
I love that.
Humans have a magnifying mind that whatever we're focusing on will become bigger. So if we choose to focus on the problem du jour, that is going to become bigger. So to stop and let me think about my wonderful family, the fact that I get to do exactly what I want for a career, and focusing on those things, because at any given time, there's probably 10% of your life that you'd like to change. So we have a choice. Do we focus on that 10%, or do we focus on the 90% that's exactly where we want it? And it's also, I'll go into, marital relations a little bit. My wife and I identified that we have what we call the script. When we would get triggered, we would have this argument about who's got it tougher, or, things like that. And then when we calm down, we both admit, actually, our life is exactly how we want. And it was a problem when you keep score too much,
right?
Because it's never going to be perfectly even.
Right.
If people just let love be their guidance and put in as much as they can, that is going to lead to a successful marriage. But it's easy to get petty and keep score and focus on the one thing that they're not doing right, or whatever.
Right.
I got pretty far off the question, but
no, I don't think you did. I mean, yeah, it's interesting. You said so many things that I feel like, oh man, that is me right now. Focusing on the problem du jour. I think that's a big part of my struggle right now, which have not been like that in the past. And I think I've let myself kind of get into this funk almost of, I get up in the morning, I open up the news apps, and it's like, terrible, fuck. And then
because it wouldn't be a headline if they said, today a lot of people were happy.
Right. Yeah.
It's just that's not a headline. They don't print good news because it's not, it doesn't pique our interest, and it doesn't get clicks. Yeah. And I don't feel like the news, some people say the news has this terrible agenda. That is just the natural having a free market of news. Sorry about the Harley.
It's all right. That guy's living his best life.
Yeah, he's having a great day.
Yeah.
Did want to ask you about Please Explain, because it's such a beautiful song. It has such a direct connection to a lot of what we talk about on this podcast. And you co-wrote it with Ben Queller, who I've known for a long time and been a fan of for a long time. I would love to hear about how you guys connected and then how that song came about.
Yeah, so as I started getting into Americana, and first I just did a couple songs on my own, like I think Work of Fiction was the very first one that I wrote, which was about seeing through my own bullshit and just my whole, and it also, I'm getting on a tangent, but that song is talking about how accolades and success will not fix you. But anyway, after I wrote that song, I put out some feelers to get some different co-writers, and my old friend Pablo Matheson, who was 311's A&R man in the early 2000s over when we were with Volcano and Jive Records, he was living down in Texas, and he said, I'm managing Brendan Benson and Ben Queller, a couple of just wonderful power pop, slightly Americana leaning writers. And I was like, I'd love to link up with one of them. So I got on a Zoom with Ben, and he shared with me about, he's been public talking about how he lost a son in a car crash, and how, because I kind of brought that up first of basically what doing a dad podcast is kind of the vibe of like this. We just naturally went into dad issues, and then he shared that to me, and I had shared about how I was seeing some darkness and some real maybe self-loathing, some darkness in the eyes of one of my kids, and really trying to make a safe space where I could coax that out of her, because you're only as sick as your secrets. It's a problem shared is a problem halved. So to create an environment where she could tell me what's really going on. So that's what we started writing about with Please Explain. And, I think it really worked. And what worked in the mission of getting my daughter to open up was for me to share tough stuff, for me to share about, when I got sober and I didn't know how to socialize sober, and I needed to get back on stage sober, and not I was scared. And so sharing with her about how I had to walk through some difficult things and get honest with people and get more support, because basically I'd been before that, I'd been I got it. Okay, I don't got it. And so sharing that I went through that, and to help her break through that wall of not telling people what's really going on was, I don't know, one of my most proudest moments as a dad, to reach her. And, I've had anxiety in the past, so I have plenty of things that I can share with her. And so I think that's a real key thing, is that if you can't just put yourself on a pedestal to pretend well, I never did that, because then kids feel shame. If you say, I've been right where you are, then they're going to feel comfortable, and it's like a safe place to open up.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah. It's so important for us to sort of do the work, to be, you're open, they know that you're open, it's a safe place to be, you can absorb some of what they feel like they need to shoulder on their own,
And setting the example to ask for help.
Yeah.
Kid see, kid do. So if they see me asking for help or going to therapy and doing the things that I do to ask for help, then they're like, that's normal.
That's normal. Yeah.
Yeah. My girls are 11 and 8, and I always find that when they're having trouble with something, it's so much more effective for me to just sit there and offer to listen, or to be vulnerable and share about a similar experience that I've had and how I worked through it, than to just try to offer advice on what to do next.
Yeah. I mean, we all remember that funny video about the nail in the head when the wife's, have you seen this video?
I don't know.
Where it was about 10 years ago that it went viral, where the wife has a nail in her head, and
Yes.
he wants to offer solution, and she's like, she wants to have validation of her feelings, and so we have to stop ourselves from being Mr. Fix-It Man. And we love women because the emotions are right there, and so we have to allow them to be themselves.
Well, I hope that listeners will check out your album, Phases of Hope and Hollow. Check out your 3 EPs, beautiful music that you're doing now. If you have an opportunity to see Nick on this tour, please do. Obviously, C311 whenever you can. And thank you so much for making time for this today, Nick. It's been like a total dream, and you were just the best. So
this has been super fun. Thanks, guys.
Well, that was an awesome chat. I've always thought he was cool, badass.
Yeah, check.
But to know that he's just a genuinely great dude on top of that is awesome. So very grateful that he was willing to do that. Thank you to our listeners for tuning into another episode of Modern Dadhood. It can be found anywhere podcasts can be listened to, and
Like Apple
or Spotify. Or Amazon,
Pocket Casts,
or Overcast.
How you feeling about Hark Audio these days?
I use Hark every day.
Well, then there you go. Find us there, man.
Hex Pod,
Nick Hexum Cast. Oh, Pocket Peanut.
moderndadhood.com is where you can find
these folks want to be a
all
part
of
of
our
our show.
episodes. You can search by topic or by guest. You can send us a message on the forum on our website, or email us at hey@moderndadhood.com. All the social medias.
Well, there's a huge thank you to Spencer Albee and the one and only Casper Baby Pants for all the music that you hear on Modern Dadhood. You know what? Hey, man, thank you, Adam, for being a pal. Yeah, man. And for being a good dude and a good dad and a great podcast host.
You don't got to say that.
I do. It's good to hear it once in a while.
Thanks yourself for all of that same stuff.
Preach.
Thank you to Nicholas Lofton Hexum for being our guest on this episode. And Mark, please finish us out.
Thank you for listening.